As an athlete, one of the biggest players in your success isn't your body, it's your mind. In the world of sports, your performance is everything. But what happens when your mind impacts your performance? This is Mindful Sports. Athletes from all over the world and from every sport take on mental hurdles. And this show is here to help educate about the mental aspect of sports and break the barriers and negative stigmas that prevent athletes from getting help. Your host is pursuing a doctorate in sport and performance psychology, someone who's been a coach, an official, and has education as a scout and athlete agent. So he's kind of qualified. This is Mindful Sports, and here's your host, Colton Swagger.
What is up, everybody? How are we doing today? It has been a minute. I know. I apologize. Life has been pretty crazy lately. Starting this doctorate program to really bolster what it is that I'm doing here on this podcast and what I have planned for the future. I have things that I'm looking for that take the information that we discuss here and is actually going to be applying it out in the real world. And that's been a little bit crazy. And I will not lie, it's been a little bit crazy. And, I wouldn't have it any other way. Because, let's be real, this is something that we need. As athletes, as coaches, sports administrators, the mental side of the game is something that we have talked about quite often. And yet it's never something that we tend to go in depth on. It's always something that we'll say, oh yeah, mental side of the game. And you gotta have mental toughness. And his mental mechanics aren't there, and a number of other things that coaches and athletes look at and say, but we never actually dive into it. We don't really have those people that help us understand it. And we're getting there. But there's a lot of work to be done. And I want to be a part of that work. Not just to provide you guys with great information here, but to be able to apply it practically as well. And even take the things that I'm learning outside practically and bring them here to reach even more of you. It's a great thing and it's awesome. But man, am I excited to be back on here, recording more episodes, getting things ready and moving forward. It's awesome. I am excited for the things that we have coming up. We've got a special guest coming on a future episode that I work with personally. It's one of my instructors for jiu-jitsu. And man, is that going to be an amazing conversation. And I cannot wait to share that with you guys. Tonight, I want to talk about something that recently happened that we saw a perfect example of. So I want to set the scene, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll actually dive into it. And it starts Monday Night Football, September 13th, 2021. Las Vegas Raiders, Baltimore Ravens. It's been a back and forth game. It's a tie game. Nobody can come to a win. So we're headed into overtime. Raiders have the ball. They're moving it down the field. And if they get a touchdown, they win. Beautifully thrown ball. Intentionally played short so that the receiver could get it free of the defender. He takes the ball, dives for the end zone, and the crowd goes wild. Everybody is jumping and cheering. The referee signals for a touchdown. Place is going ballistic. Players on both sides are starting to do the typical congratulatory handshakes and talks after. Players are helmets off. There's dog piles in the end zone. Place is going wild. Fans are loud. Everything. And then it comes down. After reviewing the play, they find that the receiver was down a yard short of the goal line. Now everybody has to get back into focus, get back out on the field, get lined up, run plays. The Raiders have to find a way to get through this and then score and end the game. The Ravens have to come back on, and you know that they've got to have a renewed energy because now they've got the opportunities, because now they have the chance to stop them. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens. A couple missed plays, weird series of events with the ball going off of a helmet and into defender's arms. What once was a touchdown and game over is now the opponent's ball. And now you got to go on defense, and the game ain't over. So what happens? Now you got one side that's, oh yes, we got the ball, we stopped them, we got it back, here we go, and they're known for big plays. The Ravens are a team who can make big plays. And now the Raiders, after having just gone through all of that up and down, have to get back out there on defense and stop them. And you know what? It happens. It happens. The Raiders end up getting the ball back. They try and run a play to get things set up a little bit better for what they want. But the kickers aren't ready. Nobody's ready. And so by the time everybody's lined up and ready, well, now you've taken a penalty, delay a game, move back another 5 yards. Now, the offense gets to go back in. After all of this, and thinking that they were done, sitting on the sideline, guys are going to kick the field goal, we're going to win. And now they're back out on the field because they got to get the yardage back that was just lost. Sure enough, what happens? We get a receiver going over the middle. Quarterback gets the ball to him. Runs it in for a touchdown. Game over. Now the Raiders and their fans can cheer and go crazy for real. Because there is no need for a review on this one. It's pretty clean. Now it's over. But man, was there such a flux on both sides of the ball. Both teams having this flux of momentum, as we call it. But it wasn't just momentum. It was mentality. And so after this short break, we're going to come back and we're going to dive into how that momentum affects your mentality. And how we got to see that firsthand, real time, in those plays.
This is Mindful Sports with your host, Colton Swagger.
Welcome back, everybody. So we set up our scenario for Monday Night Football. the Ravens and the Raiders, and the momentum swings that happened like crazy during that last little bit of the game. So let's kind of walk through exactly what it is that happened, mentally speaking, and how we can see that. So we see the Raiders pushing down the field. The receiver catches the ball and dives in. Obviously, the excitement, the release of the pressure. Because this wasn't an easy game. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't have gone to overtime. And they're at home. This is a big deal for them. And so it was amazing. It was euphoric. Everybody was going nuts. You could feel it in the fans. You could feel it in the players. That's a super high. The first game of the season, the first official game of the regular season for both teams. And that's how you pull it off in front of your home crowd. Man, that has to feel good. Against a very quality opponent. That has to feel so good. And of course, now you're thinking about after the game. You're thinking about gotta get dressed, gotta do media, want to congratulate specific players and coaches. You have all of these things that you want to do at that time. And that's where your mind is at then. You're taking in the win, and you're looking at what's next. And you're celebrating, and you're having a good time. And next thing you know, you're getting told that you have to go back out there, and you have to finish it. Because you didn't actually win. That's gut-wrenching. Anybody, it doesn't matter if you're an athlete who has had that moment of yes, that euphoric moment of success and victory, only to find out that it wasn't quite there, that you didn't actually get it. It's gut-wrenching. It's defeating a lot of times. Because it goes counter to everything that you were just thinking and feeling and processing. And now the momentum's gone. And we saw the external effects of that mental change with the Raiders. They couldn't get the job done. They had a running back that was hurt. They didn't want to necessarily give it to them. But they couldn't get that push from a yard away to get into the end zone. And then you could tell the pressure and the change in the body language that was there. The speed at which they went. The intensity with which the ball that ended up being intercepted was thrown with. Your nerves are high because now you have the pressure to do what you just failed to do. And you get panicked. And you get hurried. And that's what happened. They got stressed. They got emotionally charged up. And that release came in the form of giving the ball away. Now you went from here to here. And now you just fell even further. Because you went from winning to now a very good opponent who can score very quickly. Just got the ball. And you were this close. You were so close. Sitting right there on the edge of getting it. 1 yard, 3 feet. 3 feet away. And you couldn't get the job done. On the Ravens side, think about how they felt. Man, they just lost the game. They're watching the other team celebrate. They're hearing the fans all around the stadium. They got to pack it up. They got to get ready to go. And then someone comes and says, no, you got to get back out there because they didn't do it. You have to stop them. And man, now we're charged up again, but we're charged up in a different way. We're not charged up with anxiety, panic, frustration. No. Ravens are charged up with excitement, determination. Ooh, all right, we got a second opportunity at this, guys. Here we go. We are going to take them out. That's what they did. And it was very clear that they had that positive energy coming. That they were ready to take on the world. And that's what they did. That defense came out there ready to prove something to everybody and not let the Raiders get those 3 feet. That's what they did. And they did a great job of it. See, these are the things that can happen that we see the physical expression of. Those changes that happen mentally in our mind. The changes that go from, oh yeah, we've got this, to, oh no, now we have to do it again. See, momentum is real. And it's hard to think of it as something that's real because momentum is so abstract in what it is and how it works. There's momentum. Things are going good. Things aren't going good. That's about how you can describe momentum. But that shift is so important for athletes. And we saw that Monday night. Not just the shift, but the direction of the shift. So that's why when we look at soccer, one of the common things that maybe isn't the biggest well-known thing, maybe isn't always talked about by every coach, but is at least indirectly taught everywhere, is the importance of coming back and scoring a goal within the first couple minutes after you've been scored on. So if your opponents come and they score on you, it is crucial that you get out there and you score again as quickly as you can and get that goal back. And this is the reason for it. This is the reason for that, is because that shift in mentality and momentum and the direction of that shift is important. So after our final short break, we'll come back and talk more about that shift in momentum and why that direction matters so much.
This is Mindful Sports with your host, Colton Swagger.
What is up, everybody? So we talked about in that last segment how the shift in momentum and the direction that shift happens is so important. And here's why. When you think about momentum and you think about your mindset, we always say that a positive mindset is what gets you through. And that you can't let yourself go to this dark place. That you have to try and not let yourself be depressed. Or that if you are depressed, you need to start thinking more positively. And the reason for that is the snowball effect of what your mentality and what your thought process has on you. See, in the case of the Raiders, they went from a high to a low to an even lower low. And we saw that tumbling progression of how they spiraled down. And it showed that they hadn't even recovered even when they got the ball back. Because remember, after they gave the ball away to the Ravens, they ended up getting it back again. And they went to go run a play that didn't really get anywhere. And so they chose to kick, but the kickers weren't ready. Everybody was all out of sorts. And that happened because of that momentum switch. And the mindset and going from that positive to a negative. Because there's truth to the fact that if you're going to continually think negative, it's going to continue to be negative. And that's why I mentioned in soccer that it was so important to score a goal as soon as you could after you were scored on. Because that's what tends to happen is in sports where it is so difficult to score. And it could be football, it could be cricket, it could be tennis, it could be soccer. There are so many different things. It could be racing. Whether it be vehicle racing or whether it be track. When you have to get into that one spot, when you have a very limited opportunity to get in there and get to a winning position, it is difficult to overcome the challenges mentally. And obviously there are things that can play into that too. It could be your own performance. If you had a really rough performance, now you're beating yourself up for it. You're going to blame yourself. You start to lose focus. You start to get distracted. You start to maybe sometimes overthink things. And you're thinking too hard and not letting the game come to you. Which is another phrase that's used a lot. Let the game come to you. Why are we letting the game come to us? The game's here. We're playing the game. There is no let the game come to us. The reality behind that phrase is let your mind come to the game. Recenter yourself. Get back to doing what you're naturally able to do, what you have prepared and trained for. Because, let's be real, if we could go on autopilot and not have to deal with momentum and take the emotions out of momentum swings away, what do you have? You just have a game that goes back and forth. You don't really have a need for momentum. Because momentum impacts the emotions and the mentality of what it is that we're going through. And it's funny because momentum isn't everything. And we saw that. The Ravens got momentum. They came back out there. They stopped. They're building on their momentum now, right? Man, that positivity. They get to go back out there and they get to stop again. And they do, and they get the ball. And now it's time for the offense to go out there. And then they give the ball back again. See, momentum doesn't always impact our outcome. Because momentum isn't that easy to define. Momentum isn't that easy to gain, and it's not that easy to keep. But what can be is how we respond to those changes in momentum. Do you continue to let yourself spiral down when you thought you had it and you were so close? Or do you use that to encourage you? Because that's the other thing, is we all respond differently to those situations. Some people, they will spiral down out of control. Other people, they'll take that and they'll say, man, I was almost there. I know I can get it next time. And they use it as motivation to get themselves through. And that's the importance of our mindset and our mentality. How do you react when momentum doesn't go your way? Does it really get to you? Does it really eat at you? How do you act when momentum does go your way? Do you get overconfident? You get a little bit cocky there? Momentum causes a lot of mayhem in our minds and our emotions because of that swing, because of the fluidity of momentum. And that's why, as an athlete, it is important that you maintain the ability to be grounded in the skills that you know, in what you have practiced and prepared for, and be emotionally centered, be mentally centered. Because if you're not, you're going to be everywhere. And it's going to hurt your performance. But if you can stay in a stable place, acknowledge the momentum, and still be able to move forward, then you have a shot. then it's going to be so much easier to be able to not let those momentum swings be as large, and they can become momentum movements. So think about this next time that things are going great and then they're not, or things aren't going great and then they are. Understand that your reaction to those moments, how you respond to those moments, can be the difference between winning and losing, can be the difference between quality performance and not being present in the moment. So again, guys, thank you all for being here. I am so glad to be back, and I am looking forward to all of the amazing stuff that we have coming forward. It's going to be an awesome future. Thank you guys for bearing with me while I've been gone. I'm excited for those of you who have continued to stay and the new people who are just joining. Man, it's going to be one crazy ride, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope that you guys have a great day, and let's remember to not let the momentum swings control how we respond, and to turn those momentum swings into momentum movements. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Please be sure to hit that like button, share this with your friends and family, and leave us a comment down below. Thank you everybody for watching. To stay up to date, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. Have a great day.